Hi friends, this is CC and welcome to Hobby Hands. In this vlog, we're going to turn this into this. Yes friends, we're going to build the HobbyBoss 1/72 scale F-14B Tomcat. I'm very excited. I've built Tomcats before, but not this particular model. Let's start building. First thing we're going to do is the cockpit area, which is this bit here. We'll build and paint those. There's some decals we put on, and then there's the interior of the aircraft there as well. So let's start now. This yellow bit is for the ejection seat handles. The seat cushions. The interior of the aircraft is sort of a very light grey or neutral type grey. Okay, we've painted most of the interior now. There's a cockpit tub here. Those are the ejection seats. So I've cut out all these parts and I'm going to start painting some bits. So what I'm doing here is painting those bits which are going to be in white, like the landing gear, the landing gear base, and what I'm doing here is to give the cockpit area a gloss, after which I'm applying some wash. And I'm going to clean off the wash with a cotton bud and some thinner. So with the ejection seat handles, or with the ejection handles, I've painted it yellow and I'm just giving it a black striping. I do that with a little Gundam marker. Like that. Okay, now I'm going to put the decals on for the instrument panels, which are these bits here. There's also some decals for the ejection seats. Quite a lot of decals actually. Alright, now I'm giving the interior bits, a coating of gloss to protect the decals. And also after that, I'm giving this a flat clear coat. Alright, now let's look at this, which is the canopy. You will notice that there is a ridge where the seam line is, and we need to get rid of that ridge. So So first thing we do is remove the parts from the sprue, so it'll be easier to work with. Alright, so first thing I do is get some masking tape and tape the areas beside the ridge so I can protect the rest of the canopy while I work on the ridge. So first thing I do is use a knife to scrape. Try to get as much of the material off as possible. Then I'll use some sandpaper. I normally use 600, 800, 2000. This is 2000 grit, and this is 6000 grit, which is the finest that I will use for this scale. Alright, now I take off the masking tape. As you can see, the clear parts are now crazed. So what we do is use polishing compound. The first level that we use is the coarse one, and we use these little polishing sponges. Some people use toothpaste. So just wipe off the excess. And the next one we use is the fine polishing compound, which is less gritty than the previous one. What we're trying to do is get that part to turn that part clear again. Especially the bit where we've actually done some scraping and some sanding. There you go, all done. But now the next thing that we're going to do is to dip the canopy parts, the clear canopy parts, into a floor polish to give it a very nice shiny finish. So after you dip, just shake off the excess and then just blot the rest off on a kitchen towel. There you go. Then we'll put it into a little container with a cover so that the dust doesn't settle on them. Alright, next we're going to do the engine fans. So what I do is paint the whole lot in black, and then I'll get a brush. This is a dry brush, and I'll paint the next color, which is like a steel or burnt iron type color. You can see the details actually standing up now with the black background. Alright, next thing I do is highlight all the interior parts with a highlight pencil. The alternative is to use a dry brush. So the highlight pencil is quite convenient. And then I'll smudge the bits with a cotton bud to make it look a bit more natural. Repeat on the other parts. It gives that shadow and light effect on the parts, and the details start to stand out. Alright, back to the engine fans, and this last color that I'm using is actually a very bright silver. So you can see details start to stand out now. Alright, let's put the cockpit parts together. First one that I'm going to do is the ejection seats. Alright, then I'll put the parts into the cockpit tub, like the joysticks. So instrument panels. Now the ejection seats go into the cockpit tub. All done. The cockpit tub is now all done. Let's do a bit more highlighting. Alright. What we're going to do now is start sticking the parts together. So this one is the landing gear bay, which will stick onto the two fuselage halves. So I'm going to put a cockpit tub in it now. Fits very nicely. Alright, now to put the two halves together. Hold it together with some masking tape. And this is the bottom bit. Again, more masking tape to hold it together. And then put some cement, the model cement in it. Okay, next thing that we'll do is glue the wing halves. Fits very well again. So what I'm doing here is now gluing the engine intake fans, or maybe the turbo fans. And the next thing I'm doing here is to glue in the intake, the actual engine intake. Like that. This is the nose cone. It's got a little hole in the top. What I do is put in some blue tack to block the hole, and then I'm going to put in some ballast inside the nose cone. Okay, then put some thin CA glue. This is the exhaust for the aircraft. We'll paint the inside first before we stick it in. And then we'll stick on the engine exhaust. Like that. So we'll paint the inside of those pipes first. There you go, that's painted now. And we'll fit the exhaust fans. Right, now this is going to be something quite interesting as I fit the two swing wings in. Notice that it's a little bit wobbly. So what I do to solve that wobble is get some masking tape. Just a tiny bit, don't need much. And what I do is just wrap that masking tape around the hinge of the wing. What it does is add a bit of thickness to that hinge. Like that. And there you go. Less wobbly now because it's nice and tight. Alright, so do both sides and we can fit the wings on. Alright, now to put the two halves, the top and bottom fuselage together. Make sure the wings are open fully before the two halves can join. Now the wing can be folded in. Alright, let's start with this bit here. Some model cement. And a bit of masking tape to hold the two halves together, or the cement cures. Okay, there you go. Just have to wait for this to dry now. Time to fit the canopy on. done. Now I'm gonna fit the nose cone. Fits very nicely actually. Alright, now fit the front of the aircraft onto the two fuselage halves. Again, the fit is amazing. When we glue on the tail fins, or the tail, this one is the elevator. We're gluing on the elevator. Alright, so next thing we're doing is to start masking the canopy as we prepare for painting. I'll put the masking tape on, use a little toothpick to remove the air bubbles. Like that. Get a very sharp blade and carefully cut along the ridges. And remove the bits of masking tape. Alright, now I'm painting the missiles and the weapons. Most of the weapons are white color. Alright, I've masked the canopy, and I've also masked the wheel wells and bits and the intakes. What I'm doing now is to firstly paint the frames of the canopy with a light grey. After that, I'm painting the bottom of the aircraft in the exterior colors now. Again, it's some sort of a grey. This version that I'm going to do is a two-tone. So light grey at the bottom and a darker grey on top. Alright, so in order to paint the top, I now have to mask the bottom of the aircraft. Here you go. So pretty much I've masked the areas that are supposed to remain in a light grey, and the exposed areas will be painted in the darker grey color, which is what we're doing now. This version that I'm going to follow It's got some areas that need to be painted in black as well. Tail fin, the canopy. So there you go. You can see that I've actually masked the aircraft already, and the exposed areas will come out in that black color, including the fuel tanks, which will be in black as well. There you go. So now I've painted all the black onto the aircraft. So the next thing I need to do is to remove the masking. Can't wait to see what it looks like. Like that. Very neat line. Alright. What I'm going to do now is to spray the whole aircraft in a gloss clear. That's to help the decals sit better, and also to help when I put wash into the panel lines. There you go. See that the finish is now a nice glossy color. Nice glossy finish. And the first thing we'll do is put wash through the panel lines. Panel lines for the weapons. And for the aircraft. I actually spent a bit of time deepening all the panel lines on this aircraft, and there was a lot of panel lines to work on. But the results are perfect because the wash actually sits in the panel lines. Alright, after putting the wash in, the next thing I need to do is to take a cotton bud and some thinner, and then run this over the splodges in the panel lines so that you have nice neat panel lines like that. Alright, all the washing is done. Now the next thing I'm going to do is the decals. So the first part that I'm going to work on is the decals on the weapons. There's a lot of them, but it's going to look amazing. And the next thing I'm going to do is to put the decals onto the actual aircraft. There's also a lot of decals for the aircraft, and very colorful ones. So all done. So now I'm going to try something new. I'm not sure how this is going to work, but cross your fingers. What I'm doing is just to close the wings and maybe open it a tiny bit after. And I'm going to use masking tape and tape it over where the wing goes into the aircraft. Like that, masking tape at the top, masking tape at the bottom, and I get a sharp blade and cut along the line. I have to make sure I keep a very straight line. Like that. Alright, now I've cut all of the masking tape, and as you can see, what I do next is open the wings, get some paint, and do that. So what it does is you get lines. The lines are the marks of when the wings open and close. Okay, all the painting's done. What I do now is remove the masking tape. And have a look. Right. Here we're doing. Here we're giving the F-14 a coat or two of gloss clear to protect the decals. And after that, we are giving the whole aircraft a coat or two of flat clear because I like a very flat finish on my aircraft. Okay, there you can see all the parts are now in a nice flat finish, and I'll start assembly. The first thing I'm going to do are the wheels. Okay, there you go. So most of the parts have been put together onto the aircraft. So which is the last bit that we're doing now is putting the front antenna. You gotta be careful how I handle the aircraft now. Alright, there you go, there's the front antenna. Last bit is the tail fins. Okay, done. All finished. Looks like the glue dry now. Final step. And I'm removing the masking tape on the canopy. Canopy is still very nice and shiny underneath the masking tape. All done. There you have it. F-14B is now finished. Final thoughts for this aircraft model. The fit is very nice. Everything fits well together, especially the two halves, and you don't need a lot of putting. I had an issue with the canopy there, which I thought was a bit too thin, and when I cleaned off the ridge line, I cleaned too much off, and the canopy actually had a crack in it. You might not be able to see it, but it is there. So there you go. I enjoyed that build. Hope you like that too. Especially my little technique with the wing. One side looks good, the other side looks a little bit messed up. Never mind, I'll do better the next time. So you can see the missiles are also very nicely detailed. And underneath of the aircraft is really nice. So you've got the top view, the side view. I love the Jolly Rogers markings. So bottom view of the aircraft. Hope you enjoyed that vlog. Please subscribe to my channel and give me a like. Thank you very much for watching.